Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and you turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. And then the Lord Yahweh's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, and lest ye perish quickly from off the good land which the Lord Yahweh giveth you. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 16 and 17. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, L'chakodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone on down who rule well. Peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Haran coming back at you, the quick lesson, low and be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and I have an article here I want to jump into real quick, and it's titled, Gil Bates declares most humans, quote unquote, no longer needed in AI era. Quote, we will decide who survives. Okay, and of course, highlighting this devil once again, as is written in the book of 2 Thessalonians, the second chapter, that the man of sin is going to be revealed. Anyone that has an idea or an agenda as sinister as the one of, or the likes of Gil Bates and his minions, right? They call themselves we the elite, right? You got to understand that lines up perfectly with the devils that the Bible speaks of, pertain to the end time prophecies of those who are going to be ruling the earth prior to the return of our Lord Yahushua. Right? Because when the Lord comes back, he's coming back to institute righteousness upon the face of the earth. And for that to happen, he has to eliminate the wicked ones. He has to eliminate the wicked power and / influence, all right, that has led the earth to where it's at right now. Okay. And they're going to do it again. Okay. By doing it again, I mean, Esau is about to do his last attempt to basically upend, all right, the prophecy of them going down and Israel coming up, as is written in second Ezra, the 6th chapter. All right, goes into Esau being the end of the world and Jacob being the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, so let's get this real quick. It says globalist billionaire Gil Bates has openly declared that rapid AI advances, which is also in lockstep with rapid prophecy being fulfilled. Okay, because as AI and technology advances, so does prophecy be fulfilled. Okay, so it says Gil Bates has openly declared that rapid AI advances will make most humans obsolete, stating bluntly that, quote, we, the elite, will decide humanity's future in a world where people are no longer required for most tasks. Okay, and over the years, all right, since 1776 all the way to now, you've seen them putting in these building blocks, right, step by step. And something that came to mind earlier today was there was a time where life was quote unquote good, right? I was talking to a customer today, and she was telling me about how she lived in where she was at that moment. She's been there for the past 45 years, right? And how she moved in there during the early 80s, and she was telling me how things have changed, and she was just telling me about how life has become so difficult and so complicated, and she hates it, and she appeared to be an Edomite, but you could feel that even the Edomite people, the Edomites themselves, who this is supposed to be their kingdom, they're all complaining, and that's because you have a wicked ruler, all right, a ungodly father ruling over you, man. Okay, he's unjust. He's not looking out for his own people. Look at what DJT is doing. All right, he can come out and openly say that he's not really concerned about, the financial status of the American people per se. He don't care about that. He don't care that he promised that gas is going to be in the 1s and 2s. We in the 4s, almost 5. All right. And he's talking about, gas prices is going to go down once the Iran war is over. But yet there is no timetable of when that's going to be over. There is no plan going into that. Right. But all these things aside, the reality is that prophecy is unveiling itself. Prophecy is fulfilling itself. And what's happening is people are feeling the after effects of prophecy. Okay, people could turn a blind eye and pretend like ain't nothing going on. But the fact of the matter is people are subject to prophecy, and therefore they're being affected by the effects of prophecy. And very soon they're going to be affected by these things that were at one point called conspiracy theories they're going to be affected by it, being that that's the prophetic reality. Okay, it was just being told ahead of time, so you just didn't think of it as it could ever happen in your lifetime, right? A lot of these things that has been going on over the past, like I said, 250 years has all been in preparation for this time. Okay, for this time, for the world to be subject to that MOTB prophecy. Okay, especially here in America, Babylon the Great. Now I got a short little reading I want to bring out real fast before I jump into the article. All right, and like I said, there's no new thing under the sun. Everything that's happened before is going to happen again, but this time it's going to be much more devastatingly worse. Okay, because it's a culminating time period, right? It's a time like never before. All the things that's happened in the past all happens at the same time, right? A polycrisis. That's what makes it a time like never before, because you've had earthquakes before, you've had financial crisis before, you've had civil war before, you've had a world war before, right? But you've never had it all at the same time before, right? All at the same time. No, it's never happened before. So it's like a time like never before, right? So it says here, the Great Depression supplied the diversion needed to keep the people's attention away from what the government was doing, just like today. You have the Iran war. Not only is it a catalyst to bring about this new political / economic / military regime change, all right, around the world, all right, everything being shifted to the digital / AI, all right, but also to shift the political frame, if you will, right, to cause enough chaos to get people to start feeling the effects of these actions. Therefore, they'll be open to these new policies that's going to be implemented very soon. Okay, so it says here, it says the Social Security program was implemented, and now they're about to shift into the new and reformed digital Social Security system, otherwise known as the social credits system. Okay, along with numerous other socialistic New Deal programs that invited the American people to volunteer to be the sureties behind the United States' new registered property and adhesion contracts through the legal presumption that they were 14th Amendment United States subjects. We are permitted to contract with anyone, even the government. So for the promise of benefits from the federal government, right? UBI and universal high income and all this stupid shit, right? Those goodies that they promise you, right? So it says what? So for the promise of benefits from the federal government, we traded away our unalienable rights and put on a mask of the subject person, right? Remember what was it Thomas Jefferson? Who is it? Thomas Jefferson? Yeah, one of them said, anyone who, he said, if you ever give up your liberties and your freedoms for a little bit of security, you deserve and will get none, right? You deserve and will get none. You don't deserve to get that freedom that you gave up, right? All in the name of, oh, I want some security. Oh, everything is all peace and safety and security, and is to keep you safe and is to keep you secure. And oh, it's good to install all these surveillance cameras in your house because it keeps you safe. Does it really keep you safe? Or that was just a ploy for you to be able to get more information on us, right? Spying on us, right? You make us buy these devices that we see, it seems to be doing something completely different. But the main reason why it was created was for something much more sinister that you know that you couldn't pitch that. Say, hey, listen, just buy this device. It will spy on you. It'll listen to everything you have to say. It'll read everything you're saying. It'll listen. It does everything. See, it's recording you. You see, they didn't tell you that. They said, no, you can use this phone. You can browse. You could take pictures. You could post your location. You could do all these different things, right? Social media. Mm-hmm. It says massive registration of property through United States agencies, including the states of the Union as instrumentalities of the federal government in bankruptcy, assure the United States and its officers and instrumentalities, the states, that they would become wealthy beyond their wildest expectations, as predicted by Colonel Mandel House. And that's exactly what Trump is doing. All right, he lied to the American people and told them that you're going to be experiencing something known as the golden age, right? America's golden age, some bullshit. And people believed it. When we're telling you that this is the end, this is all an illusion. All right, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. If you believe these devils and let them persuade you into thinking that you're going into heaven, nigga, you're in the fast lane straight to hell, man. All right, with all this AI race and was it AI? What's it called? AI arms race, right? The new Cold War. Oh man, they shifting everything to 6G now. All right, there's a company, actually the company that I work with, they're right in lockstep with building 6G. Everything is shifting to fiber. You're gonna start seeing it. A lot of companies are gonna start pushing that shit, like fiber and having internet. Even when there's electricity off, you're still gonna be able to power up your internet. Like you're always gonna have Wi-Fi and shit like that. That's all what they all doing right now. Okay, so let's get into this article real quick. All right, and I read that just to set the stage, right? Because these devils are planning to be in partnership with your governments, right? The PPP, public partnership. That's why your so-called White House is being turned into they call it the ballroom in the East Wing. That's not what's going on there, man. They got 6 floors down underneath that shit, and that's going to be where they're going to be operating, all right, in a new world order. Everything's going to be AI generated and powered. They're going to pretty much run the governments through down there. Okay, and that's another topic for another day. It says in a resurfaced late night television interview, Bill Bates said, due to advances in AI, humans will no longer be needed. When asked if humans would still be necessary, he replied, "Not for most things. We will decide." The chilling remarks have triggered a firestorm, with many interpreting them as a direct window into a long-suspected elite depopulation agenda. Critics argue Gates is signaling a future of mass technological unemployment, followed by managed decline of the global population. Okay, and that's all we've been prophesying this for years. We've been reporting on these things for years. Okay, it says the comments align with Gates' decade-long focus on population control. His foundation has poured billions into Vanessa's reproductive health and global health initiatives in developing nations, right? Third world countries and so on and so forth. Places that wouldn't really have the ability to push back because they're not as knowledgeable. Okay? They don't really get access to the information that we get access to. So they don't really have an opposition to a devil who comes in and pitches his demonic ways as life-saving. They're not going to really have an opposition to that because they don't know any better. Okay? And see a so-called white man, they think that's God. So they're going to accept him. All right? That's Jake for you. Even Jake niggas do that shit over here. They don't want to say, oh, you can't say nothing about Esau. You could, all the other nations, we don't really care too much about them, but Esau can't make it. Oh, we got a problem. See? So that's the thing. That's one of the part of the strongholds that Esau has put on these on our people. Right? They see Esau as God, like he's untouchable. The very devil. All right. And when you highlight all the things that these devils have done over the years, these niggas act like, oh, it never happened. They could still be saved. Fuck out of here, man. That's why you niggas is not going to be judges. You're going to be ruled over because you can't judge righteous judgment, man. You're afraid to stand up for righteousness because it's unpopular. Weak ass niggas. Anyway, it says here, just like these other, this group, the Genesis crew, all of a sudden they want to save the so-called white man. Why? Because he put some money in your pocket? You weak ass niggas, man. Esau not gonna make it. All right, Esau is not destined to make it. And when they start, because Esau is gonna turn on you niggas anyway. You sold out, he's still gonna turn on you because the Lord's gonna put the spirit on them to turn on you. It's called mockery. You don't get to mock the Lord and get away with it, huh? Niggas, man. It's the worst kind of nigga. You knew the truth and then you fell out and you go follow Christianity. Now you want to denounce the truth. The one thing that made you known, you're going to denounce that. That's the Lord, man. That's the Lord. This is the year of that. So continuing, it says here, it says in his 2010 TED Talk, Gates famously stated that new Vanessas and better healthcare could help lower world population growth by 10 to 15%. Well, they said, now you got people that work with Gavi. They said, this nigga said 10 to 15% is not good enough. We need at least 80 to 85%. So whatever they create in the back, hey, it's going to do exactly that. So we'll see. It says remarks now being revisited in a far darker light. What you mean far darker light? When he said it was dark enough, fuck you mean? He says, with AI poised to replace workers across medicine, education, manufacturing, agriculture, and logistics, conspiracy researchers and independent voices claim the plan is clear. Render billions and economically useless, then gradually reduce their numbers through policy, scarcity, and control systems. And it's heavy because I was actually talking to my brother earlier today, and I was like, man, I was driving earlier today, and the person in front of me was driving mad slow, man. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this motherfucker, man? So I kind of like drove around him a little bit, and I looked at the speed limit, and I'm like, yo, you can't be like a law-abiding citizen to a fault, bro. Like, you can't be that law-abiding citizen type shit. Like, you follow the law to a T like that? Damn, nigga, like, it shit says 25 miles per hour. You dead ass going 25 miles. Who does that? Who drives like that, bro? You know? So I was thinking about that. I was like, man, these types of shit is going to frustrate the hell out of brothers, because here it is. We're about to enter into a whole new world where you got surveillance everywhere. You know, you like the scripture says in 2nd Ezra, a man shall desire to go into a city and will not be able to, right? You're going to have a lot of obstruction. You're going to have a lot of restriction. You're going to have a lot of, things that's going to stop you from being normal, right? And that's going to be frustrating because we're not planning to comply with all this bullshit. Like, oh, come take the C-hip. If not, you can't go here. All right, fuck it, nigga. I'm not going there then, But at some point, that frustration level gets to a point where it's like, yo, man, I'm sick and tired of all these unrighteous decrees, bro. You're not finna keep on oppressing us and telling us what to do when we both know what you're trying to do is bullshit. You know what I mean? It doesn't hold water anywhere, right? You can't tell a man, hey, you can't have, sex with your woman. If not, that's breaking the law. That's crazy. But they're going to be coming up with laws like that because it's part of their agenda. They're going to do it with pleasure, right? If they want to depopulate, clearly you can't be having sex, right? Because that goes against your plan to depopulate. You're going to be bringing in more people, right? So they said they want to do away with all that. That's all part of their agenda, okay? And I was telling my brother, I said, man, we're going to need spiritual power, and the Lord's going to give us that power because we're not going to be complying with this system. How are we going to survive in this system, right? How are we going to be able to get around? How are we going to be able to protect our loved ones? How are we going to be able to actually be men of the Lord? How are we going to be able to do that, right? The Lord's going to have to give us that power that separates us from everybody else, okay? Because of our patience, he's going to hold us in the hour of temptation. He's going to keep us in the hour of temptation. It's going to be done through many different miraculous ways, okay? So it says here, they said another one right here, Gil Bates, insider admits data centers built to kill and replace 200 million Americans by 2030. Look, man, if we go according to the Lord's plans, we might not even see, all right, if it be the Lord's will, we might not even see America by 2030, man. All right. So it says here, Gates' use of, quote, we has drawn particular outrage. The pronoun does not refer to governments, citizens, or humanity at large. It points to a small club of billionaires, technocrats, and global institutions who believe they alone should determine which human activities, if any, remain in an AI-dominated world. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Okay. Full context from the interview shows Bates discussing AI delivering expert services and freeing people for leisure. Yet the core message remains unmistakable. Humans are becoming optional, and the decision about their future rests with the elite class that controls the technology and capital. The clip's viral spread comes as Microsoft aggressively pushes AI development while Bates continues to lecture the world on climate, health, and sustainability, topics long tied to arguments for fewer people consuming fewer resources. And I tell you what, if the world was to eliminate all these devils coming up and telling you that it's important for you to be gone, trust me, the whole world will change. It will flourish again. Because clearly, in the year 2026, we see who the problem of the earth is. Okay, and it's not no like what Sister Keisha and them be saying, oh, you so-called black men didn't do your jobs and that's why we here and doing all. No. It doesn't work like that, ma. You need to go sit your ass down someplace. Ain't nobody listening to you. Okay, you just saying shit. The Lord's putting spirit on you to say shit to get your ass cooked and embarrassed. And then you sit and wait for your judgment because Lord's going to start raining that judgment upon you loud ass women that keep running your mouth. And you think the Babylonian way of doing things is how the Lord does things. You're sadly mistaken. Babylon's about to get destroyed. And so will you if you don't fucking repent. It's just that simple, man. We've passed the stage of listening to you big mouth black women that can't shut your fucking asses up, man. We're tired of that shit. Oh, if you don't respect the black, shut your asses up, man. Fuck. You just don't learn. That's the problem with you women. You don't learn, man. And when the Lord starts bringing that judgment, we're going to sit back and we're going to be doing videos on the harsh judgment the Lord's going to be bringing on you women, man. It's very annoying and irritating just hearing the shit that these females be saying, bro. When you look around the world, you don't hear women talk like that about their men. You don't hear that. How come it's always you women? How you so-called black, Latinos, Native American, why are you always a problem? And you know what the problem is? The Lord's going to deal with that problem very soon. Okay? That beast of destruction is going to wipe all this place clean. Don't worry. We're good. We're good. All right? Keep running your mouth. We're good. All right? So continue, it says, as automation accelerates, questions grow louder. Is widespread job loss merely progress or the engineered mechanism for a post-human economy where the global population is steadily culled or managed into irrelevance? And like I was saying earlier, how people look at decades ago and they say, like going back to a woman's example, how, you know, back in the 80s and 70s, life was good. Right? They'll give examples of how, oh, you know, we used to have the TV and you could just turn it on and then you could watch the channels. Now you have to have a subscription and, you know, now they're shifting from the cable boxes to now everything is streaming and Roku and Zumo and, you know, streaming devices and all these different things. So she was mad about that. You know, she's like, basically where she lives, they were told that the building is no longer going to be given that service of having the cable box and so on and so forth. So if you want to watch TV, you have to get the digital package, which is all streaming. And a lot of these older people are not familiar or conversant with that kind of technology. So she was kind of mad about that. She was like, I don't want this, but this is the only thing that I can do. Like they're forcing us to do this and I don't want it. I don't want to do this. And as she's speaking, you know, the spirit, how the spirit works. As she's speaking, we're talking about cable and TV and those kinds of things. But as she's speaking, I'm hearing her saying to me, I don't want to take this chip, but that's the only thing I can do. Like, that's my only option. If I want to live here, if I want to be able to watch TV, if I want to do anything, even though I don't want to do this, I have to do this in order to get the things that I used to get without having to get all these things attached to it. Right. So they've given you a glimpse of entertainment. And then they strip away the entertainment and tell you the only way you can get back this entertainment is by doing it this way now. That's the only way now. That's the same thing with the CHIP, right? You got used to buying and selling with this form of currency, which is not backed by gold, it's just paper. And now we've kind of transitioned you to use debit cards, credit cards, you know, illusion, right? It's all credits. It's credo, going back to faith, right? You believe, so therefore it is, right? That kind of thing. So then they transition you from that world of buying and selling to now it's all digital, where every transaction you make is recorded, it's spied on, it's watched, is you know, documented in the system, you know, and it's controlled, right? CBDC is controlled. It's not currency. It's just control, central bank digital control. That's what it is, right? And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. So if you don't have the mark, you can't use this new central bank digital currency way of buying and selling. Simple. And a lot of people will have to do that. Why? Because they don't know the truth. They don't know what's to come after this. You see? And me personally, I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV set up. Now, every once in a while, you might catch me watch a game or two, you know, sports and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm not watching TV, right? And that's because there's nothing interesting on there. Like there was a time years ago where TV was actually interesting. They had fun things going on. Nowadays, it's just, I don't know what's going on. It's bullshit. It's just, what the fuck, you know? So Long story short, that conversation, that interaction, and another part of that conversation was, as she was talking, you could tell that it's just so much that she's just overwhelmed, and the Lord has it where there's such, the world is so messed up that there was a time where people could actually talk. She was saying that. She was like, there was a time where children could be outside and just climb apple trees and just talk to the neighborhood friends. And she said all those days are gone. Nowadays, people don't even talk to each other anymore. Everybody's rude to each other. Everybody's mean. People want to get into fights. And it's like, what's going on? And she said her boyfriend of 34 years. I'm like, damn, 34 years? You might as well just be married at this point, But she said 34 years, he just suffered stroke or something. And, it's sad to see how his brain is not functioning properly. And somebody that she's known for all these years, and to see how these things are changing him, it's devastating. She said she's the only one that's taking care of him, and it's a lot, and she was crying. She started crying, right? I'm like, yo, bro, I'm just here to work, bro. Like, what's going on? And she was standing right there and she was crying. And I said to myself, I'm like, damn, like, I feel bad for you, but you know what I'm saying? I understand why you're going through what you're going through. You don't understand why you're going through what you're going through, But I'm not about to sit here and explain all this to you. So I thought about her and I was like, damn, how many millions of Americans are going through the same thing she's going through and even worse? And they have no idea that it's about to get even worse. They have no idea. That's why the scriptures tell you, let's get that real quick, right? We cherish what we have. Hold on. Right here. Here's the book of Psalm chapter 18 and verse 10. It says, the name of the Lord Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. So we understand what we're dealing with. We understand the times that we're about to enter into, and therefore we prepare accordingly. How much more for someone who has no idea what the hell is going on? This shit that's going on right now, we are prepared for it, right? Brothers and sisters are functioning. Meanwhile, life is hard for most people, right? Because they didn't even anticipate these days will come. Like, it's preparation is not just about physical preparation. It's also mental and spiritual. If you're prepared mentally, but you're not prepared physically and spiritually, you're done. You're not gonna make it far in the race. But if all three, you're firing on all three cylinders, spiritual, physical, and mental, you got money, right? You got money. So the spiritual part, a lot of people don't know, right? The physical part, you're not going to get the physical preparation if you don't have the mental preparation done. So you're already at a loss, right? Before the fight begun, you've already been conquered. Why'd you even step in the ring in the first place? Oh, I didn't want to step in the ring. You were forced to step in the ring without any preparation, without any training. You getting shit rocked. So a lot of Americans are about to get this shit rocked, okay? Because they don't have a standing fighting chance. They don't know the Heavenly Father. They don't have the Father's name written in their foreheads, man, in their hearts. They don't know that. They don't have that. They don't have that safety that they could run into, okay? They don't have that strong defense, okay? That high and mighty wall. They don't have that. That safety. They don't have that, okay? So when that time comes, they're going to be taken away. They're all going to be part of those people that the Lord's going to have on Bill Gates' kill list, right? Lord says, go ahead, go do what you got to do. You're that death angel I'm sending out there. Use them Vanessas and wipe these niggas out, right? So finishing the article, it says, Bates has not responded to the latest backlash. The elite's vision, however, appears increasingly transparent. AI will run the world, and they will decide who and how many still get to live in it, all right? So there you have it. All right. Just another article of this sinister damn demon beast devil. All right. Popping up here and running his goddamn mouth. Okay. But again, the Lord is the one who's giving them that power. Okay. That's in, let's get that real quick. Revelation 6:4 says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Okay, ultimately that great sword is going to the missiles, but when you have any killing instrument, that is also considered as a sword. Okay, in the scriptures, you could use the Vanessa as a means of a sword. Okay, you could use the guns, right? The guns as a means of the sword. Okay, and ultimately, like I said, the missiles. Okay, any killing instrument this devil has been blessed with. That's just what they do. All right, they are the instruments of cruelty meant to bring death and destruction upon the face of the earth. And that's working in lockstep with Yahweh Bashim Yahushua on the left-hand side. Okay? So ultimately, the Lord gets that glory. It tells you in the book of Isaiah, let's get that real quick, Isaiah 45, all right, and 7. It says here, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. How does the Lord create evil? Evil is a bad time. You have to create a creature that brings about evil in his due time. And Esau Edom is that creature. Okay? The Lord says what? I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord Yahweh, do all these things. Okay? So everything is set in stone to work in accordance to bringing in that balance of right and wrong, of good and evil, of righteous and wicked. Okay? Of light and darkness. The Lord is in control of all that. That's why he's known as the Most High. Okay? The Most High that brings in that balance, that perfect balance. Okay? So yeah, man, Esau Edom is about to go on a stampede. Once the Lord gives him that go ahead, you're going to see some shit. The whole world is going to see some shit. And of course, the Lord's going to balance that with what? That spiritual power, man. Okay, Esau is talking that spiritual talk. You're talking that miracles talk. Well, get ready for the Lord to show his hand as well. All right? And it's going to overcome any and everything Esau and them devils have been planning on and working on for all these years, man. Just like that, the Lord's going to just flip the tables, man. All right? But anyway, I'm going to end off there. Lord willing, you were edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Chakudash, the Wadi Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. Until next time, Shalom.